Hello everyone and welcome to the air poll for the second litter of the Inferno Pack, or I should say air polls, because we did have 6 survivors, which means that there will be 2 finalists from this litter. Of course, we have Blaze, who is the founding patriarch of the Inferno Pack, and Misty, his mate. And you can see their stats here as well. Blaze has strength 2, but -1 stamina and health, and Misty has 0 strength, 1 stamina, and minus health, 0 speed as well. Of course, we did have 7 pups, most of whom survived, and one of whom who did not. Unfortunately, we did lose Flicker over the course of the series to illness, which seems to be the running theme with the litters that Blaze has ended up caring for. But today we're going to go ahead, we'll take a look at the pups, and we will make the survivors into playable adults, and then you can vote for which 2 pups from this litter you want to see go on to be potential heirs who may follow up Blaze's story when it comes to its conclusion. Not soon, hopefully, but at some point in the future. First off, of course, we have Torch. So Torch, it looks like, had 1 strength, 1 speed, and -2 health, 0 stamina though. He had that gray coat. Of course, a lot of the pups this time around actually took rather after Misty, it seems like. We also have Charcoal, who's slightly darker than Torch, but not by a lot, with 1 speed, -1 stamina, and otherwise neutral stats. So he's kind of got a little white spot on his chest. I wonder if he'll keep that into adulthood. We also have Timber. Timber was one of the pups who did fall ill but recovered, as was Charcoal. Charcoal was the other one who was sick. And Timber, it seems, has 0 strength, 0 stamina, 1 speed, and -1 health. We also have Obsidian, who I think is even a little bit darker. Yeah, these guys are just like a pretty perfect gradient almost. With 1 strength, -1 stamina, -1 speed, and 1 health. Does Misty? No, Misty has minus health. Interesting, we're seeing some recessive genes come out with that positive health stat there. We also have Pyro, who could be an interesting one. He is the runt. He also has a potentially interesting coat, if you've seen any of the other litters where this one has popped up, so I'm curious to see what it turns out to be. But he has, his highest stat is actually strength at a 0, but a -1 stamina, -1 speed, and -2 health. Goodness, it's good he didn't get sick. That could have been scary. His are not quite the same as Blaze. I was gonna say I wasn't sure how similar they were, but they are definitely in keeping with what we tend to see it from this pack. And finally, for the survivors, we have Fog, the only female of the litter, with 2 strength, 0 stamina, -1 speed, and -1 health. And of course, we also do have Flicker, who unfortunately did not survive his illness. He had 2 strength, and -2 health. That doesn't surprise me. That might explain why his illness was so severe compared to Timber with a -1 and Charcoal with a 0. Oh boy, it happens, but it's still never easy when it does. But we're going to go ahead, we will make the 6 survivors into playable wolves. As always, you can find a quick reference spreadsheet for the litter in the video description, as well as the 2 polls where you'll be able to vote for which of these pups you want to see become the litter semi-finalists. But I'm going to go ahead, age them up, and we'll take a look at how they turned out as adults. Alright, and starting off the litter here, we have a rather dramatic wolf. This is Torch, with a genetic black coat, definitely drawing some genes from his mother's side, it seems. I wonder, I don't know. Blaze has a black coat. Does Misty? I can't remember, does Blaze have a double black coat? I don't actually recall now. I didn't think Misty did, but he definitely seems to have drawn some of that lighter white fur from her. Or some interesting recessive genes running in the Elements pack, perhaps? I don't know. In any case, this is a 755M coat from the Hall of Fame. It is a genetic black coat, and Torch also got these really cool dark eyes here. They're kind of a dark, very orangey chocolate sort of color. Very, very pretty. In any case, we'll also go ahead and listen to his howls here. That's that classic nostalgia howl that we've had from the very beginning. And then for his secondary here, a very high-pitched one. Now, the pups can roll random customizations, but I'm not seeing anything evident, although we'll have to watch out for the sneaky crooked tail. Nope. It seems like Torch has no customizations. However, you're probably very used to me saying this by now, but if you are interested in submitting ideas for what could have happened to any of these pups from the time that they were a pup to the time they became an adult, you can do that through the supporter Discord, which is available to all supporters on Patreon, Twitch subs, and YouTube channel members who are over the age of 13. You can send in your ideas there, and I may incorporate them into a wolf's final design if they end up getting a story, and that of course is the case for Torch here, as well as for any of the other survivors from this litter. Now, we did see Torch's stats earlier, but here they are again, just in case you're interested, and of course he is the offspring of Blaze and Misty. So that is Torch, our first pup, but next up we have Charcoal, who is looking a lot like Dante, actually. Goodness. That's quite a familiar look. It's the very striking small dot coat. It looks like he did keep that little white spot. It is a genetic black coat. He also has those very pretty dark brown eyes. Very much like Torch, it would seem. Definitely a very pretty combination overall. Very much reminds me of Dante. Wow, I was not expecting that. Goodness. But in any case, here we'll go ahead. We'll also listen to his howls. Slightly higher pitched one there, and then for his secondary. That's incredibly high pitched, wow. Now I'm not noticing any obvious customizations, but I am curious about the sneaky tail. No, all of this is looking pretty normal. Oh, no, it seems that Charcoal doesn't really have any modifications either. Again, here are his stats. We looked at him earlier, but we'll look at him again. And as for his story, he's of course the offspring of Blaze and Misty. He was one of the pups who got sick and recovered, and fortunately, out of the 3 that did get sick, at least 2 of them made it. And that might have been in part due to his higher health value. I know 0 doesn't seem high, but it was fairly high for this litter. But that is Charcoal. Next up, and finishing off the first of the polls for this litter, we have Timber, who also has a black coat, which is the half black coat this time. Oh, he definitely has an ear customization. I see that already. And he also has these really pretty, almost greenish eyes. Very much in contrast to the 2 siblings that we have seen before. Very, very pretty combination. Once again, the green stands out very well against. He's got a little bit of that tinting going on, that sort of fiery tint. A lot of the pups, too, I'm seeing. A lot of them last litter took after Blaze. A whole lot of them this time around are taking after Misty, apparently. We'll also go ahead, we'll listen to his howls here. Oh, that is a really deep one, but very pretty. Then for his secondary, 2 beautiful howls, but very different in pitch for sure. A lot deeper and a lot higher. Now, I already see one of his ears here. Yeah, it's the torn left, has that customization. I think that's the only ear customization. But as always, if you are in that supporter Discord through Patreon, Twitch sub, or channel membership, you can also submit ideas if you have thoughts on what could have happened to any of these pups from the time they were pups to the time they became adults. Now, I'm going to look through here too. I'm not noticing anything. Nope, just that ear customization. That's the torn left ear. So he definitely got into a bit of a scrap somewhere along the way, it would seem. We saw his stats earlier, but here they are again. He has that -1 health, which he's fortunate he survived his illness. He was the other one to get sick and survive. And of course, he is the offspring of Blaze and Misty. That's going to conclude the first air poll. Now, moving on to the second one, we're starting off with Obsidian, who is absolutely gorgeous. Another genetic black coat. I think Blaze might be a double black, if I recall. I know we've had several that have turned out to be, but in any case, this is the 1276F coat, the third mother, genetic black coat. Also has that white spot that we noticed on him earlier with some very pretty, very striking golden eyes. Definitely a very neat combination. This is such a cool coat. It's from the new DLC, the Beauteous Blacks and the Gorgeous Grays. Now, as for his howls, we'll go ahead and listen to those. Ooh, a very pretty deeper howl, and then for his secondary. A much higher pitched one. Okay, so a lot of these wolves have got some range. Now I'm not noticing anything for his ears here, but sometimes it hides. Nope, nothing here. Then for his secondary, all of these are looking normal. Yep, it looks like he doesn't have any customizations either. We had a lot of wolves who just straight up have it, so very interesting. I feel like that's a little bit uncommon. Usually they have at least one or two, but not always. Of course, though, if you do want to suggest ideas, you can do that through the supporter Discord if you're a member of Patreon, a subscriber on Twitch, or a member of the YouTube channel on the JayPlays channel here. We saw stats earlier, but here they are again if you want to look them over. And Obsidian was definitely one of our wanderers. Obsidian and I think Torch as well were kind of a little bit troublemakers. They tended to wander off and find trouble, but fortunately both of them survived. And of course Obsidian is the offspring of Blaze and Misty. So that's Obsidian. Next up we have Pyro, and Pyro is indeed a bit of a surprise. Look at that coat. This is the Cinderella coat. It is a black coat, even though most of it is very pale. It has those black tips on the ears you can see. And it is that false gray coat that can be very, very striking. I also definitely see several customizations here, so we'll take a look at those in a bit, but he definitely rolled some of them. He also has these really pretty darker brown eyes. They definitely stand out against his coat, too. Now, as for his howls, we'll go ahead and listen to those. Bit of a higher pitched one, and then for a secondary. Also quite a higher pitched one. Now I definitely see he has at least one ear customization. There it is, that torn inner left ear. You can see there's a little notch taken out of it. Of course he got the radio collar too. But I'm not seeing anything else. Nope, it looks like just those two. But of course, if you do have ideas for anything else that happened to him between the time he was a pup and the time that he was an adult, if you are a supporter in the supporter Discord, you can suggest those ideas there, and you can become a member of that through Patreon, Twitch subscription, or YouTube channel membership, provided you're over the age of 13. Now, his stats are a little bit lower here because he is a runt. He was kind of the baby of the pack. He was a good 2 pounds less heavy than his siblings for most of the litter, so definitely a runt there. His stats are a little bit less than any of his siblings are, but that didn't stop him from being quite the personality. And fortunately, that nasty illness that swept through the pack for a bit there did pass by him, because with -2 health, he might have been in a bit of trouble. And of course, he is the offspring of Blaze and Misty, as all of them are. So that is Pyro. Finally, last but not least, we have Fog. And oh goodness, what a curious wolf she is. She's also quite reminiscent of Dante with that small dot coat. It's a very distinctive one. I think that's why it stands out so much that he has that too. And a very clear customization. She's also one of the few pups who ended up with a darker coat than expected. A lot of them were a little bit lighter than we anticipated, with several white coats popping up unexpectedly. But of course, it is a genetic black coat as well. And it's interesting because we thought was going to take after her mom more, but she's kind of heralded back to some of the darker genes on Blaze's side of the family. It's pretty interesting. Really, none of them ended up looking like him very much either. They all have the less tinted, more monochromatic coats from Misty's side of the family. But she does have, well, I can't say eyes, but the one eye she does have is a little bit greenish, and the other one is just missing. Her right eye, I don't know if it was injured. I don't think she was like that as a pup. I didn't notice it, at least. So she definitely seems to have had some sort of an accident between the time that she was a pup and when she became an adult. She may have gotten into some conflicts, it would seem. But we'll also go ahead, we'll listen to her howls here. Very deep one. That's kind of suitably mysterious for her name, I think. And then her secondary. Bit more of a mid-ranged one, but still very, very pretty. As for customizations, aside from the obvious missing eye, I'm not noticing too much, but as always, if you do have ideas, you can submit those through the supporter Discord if you are a member of that via Patreon, Twitch sub, or YouTube channel memberships. And her stats here we have seen before. She's quite a strong wolf, actually. But here they are again, if you're interested in seeing them. And of course, she is the offspring of Blaze and Misty, the only female in the litter. We had 6 males, and then Fog was the only girl. But apart from that, she's also going to be finishing off our second poll there. So you'll have the chance to vote between the first 3 for one litter heir and the second 3 for the second. And then both of those litter heirs will eventually run in the final poll to determine, well, final polls to determine which wolves should carry on the legacy. But that is going to wrap up this episode. Don't forget that there's a quick reference spreadsheet in the video description if you want just a summary of stats, looks, and such not. And you can also find the links to the polls themselves there, as well as a link to the Ko-fi. And we mentioned in the last episode that there are now new stickers available, including Pyro, Dante, and several others. So if you want to take a look at those, definitely make sure to check that out. It does support the channel, which helps me continue to be able to keep doing this and making this content like I love being able to do. But that's going to go ahead and wrap this up here for today, because it is getting to be about that time again. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. But until then, this is Jay, over and out.